Hello, I'm Kelly O'Hara Dyer. I'm the editor of Minnesota Alumni Magazine, the official publication of the Alumni Association at the University of Minnesota. And joining us today is Dr. Michael Osterholm, who is the director of CIDRAP at the university, which is the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy. And Dr. Osterholm himself is a three-time Gopher alumnus, in addition to being the director of CIDRAP. And we're pleased to announce that he's also the Grand Marshal for the 2022 homecoming festivities at the university. Congratulations on behalf of the Alumni Association, and we appreciate you taking a few minutes with us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And let me just start out by saying I'm very, very honored by this and truly humbled. There are a lot of other people out there, I think, that university alum who surely are far more deserving of this than me.
Very graciously spoken, but I believe you have been with the university for 47 years. Is that correct?
I have. I actually started in 1975 at the U as a graduate student. And because of the fact that at that time, the world of infectious diseases was all but dissolving in front of our eyes, everybody thought it was gone. We had taken care of it. So that by 1976, I was actually one of the instructors in infectious disease there. And so while I completed my degrees, my 2 masters and my PhD, I also was actually teaching infectious disease epidemiology. And so for the many years I was at the State Department of Health here in Minnesota, I also was on faculty. And for a number of those years, I actually was the lead infectious disease advisor. And it's one of my proud moments to say that a number of the faculty today at the university and people who work at the State Health Department were my former graduate students who actually have gone on and done wonderfully important things.
That's an extraordinary tenure. Given that you're the director of CIDRAP, you have been really at the forefront of the last 2.5 years, the whirlwind that we've all been through. Can you tell us a little bit about your position there and how the pandemic has affected both your daily and your professional life?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's important to note that our center at the University of Minnesota really is the ultimate combination of research and policy. I learned a long time ago in the science world that all the research in the world was pretty much useless if it was merely just sitting in a book on a shelf and didn't actually implicate and involve and in many cases drive public policy. And the same is true in reverse. So often we have public policy that's not well informed by the research, and so it ends up being challenging, if not downright difficult policy. And so I kind of look at CIDRAP as being the ultimate chocolate and peanut butter running into each other in the hallway, in which we try to blend both of these together. And this is something that is all the years I was at the State Health Department, which was almost 25 years, it was a great gift, and I got to be in the field virtually every day, and with the idea of kind of just being right in the middle of these outbreaks. So often I saw the policy implications or what could be done to prevent these situations or to address future challenges not happening. And so that's why CIDRAP got started. I was very, very fortunate that when we started it, Frank Serra, who was at that time then head of the Academic Health Center, and a new dean in School of Health, Dean Mark Becker, and I got together and really created CIDRAP as we did. And then the Robbins, Miller, Kaplan, Cerisi Foundation provided support for us initially, and then the rest is history. We took off from there.
You mentioned offhandedly sort of being in the center of everything. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, with fall and winter coming toward us, are there any insights that you can share about where we might find ourselves with COVID?
Yeah. Well, let me take the long view of this first, and then I'll narrow in on the fall. The germs were here before us. The germs are here while we're here, and the germs are going to be here after we're gone. And we sometimes fail to recognize or realize that. We think we're the most powerful creatures on the face of the earth. And when, in fact, really, when you get back to it, the microbes surely challenge all living creatures on Earth, and we never must forget that. I think right now, COVID was an example of where people realized something came out of nowhere to cause not only the physical harm to what we all know has been a tragic medical and public health experience, but look at the economic implications, look at the policy implications. And now we're, of course, dealing with monkeypox. And so I think the challenge we have long term is knowing that every season, every day is going to be a challenge for us. And that we have to basically be able to quickly adjust and respond. I think the next couple of months are going to be a real challenge with monkeypox. Fortunately, a disease that has a low mortality rate, so we're not seeing the same kind of number of deaths we would see if this were, for example, COVID. But at the same time, still really a substantial challenge. COVID continues. We are seeing a summer unlike any we've seen since the beginning of the pandemic, where instead of having these big high surges of cases and then these big valleys or troughs in between the surges, we're kind of on a high level plateau. It's like the high plains. We're seeing 450 deaths a day. We've been seeing that for months now. When we extrapolate that out for our country at 450 deaths a day, that's about 164,000 deaths a year, which makes it the number 4 cause of death in this country. Now, who would have imagined at a time when most people think COVID is pretty well gone, that we have an infectious disease that's now the number 4 cause of death in this country? So we've got still a lot of work ahead of us.
My next question is kind of a two-part question. Obviously, you've spent your entire professional life in the public health arena. For the average person, I think the last 2.5 years kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. But given that we've all gone through this together, so to speak, is there anything that you personally would like to see the average person do differently down the line? Have you learned anything?
Yeah. Well, let me bifurcate this one too a little bit into 2 separate buckets. I think that from a first bucket standpoint, particularly for those who have underlying risk factors for severe COVID illness, age, underlying comorbidities that are been so well described, I would say, you be certain you have all the vaccine doses on board that you are eligible for. Because while it may not keep you from becoming infected, those doses will do a lot to keep you from becoming seriously ill and dying. Second thing is to protect yourself today in a world where most people are considering the pandemic over. The burden is on you to protect yourself, even if you have these comorbidities that can pose a real challenge. So, for example, I, as an older individual with that as a risk factor, when I'm in public places, I have no challenge at all wearing my N95 respirator and feeling confident about that gives me a high level of protection. So in that case, it doesn't mean you have to shut down your life. I went to the 4th of July James Taylor concert with my partner and I out in Tanglewood in Massachusetts. And she and I both, wore our N95s when we were going into gas stations or rest stops. We ate our meals outside, that type of thing. And so we didn't let the virus keep us from having a life, but at the same time, we didn't give into it, and we remain basically free. I think the second bucket that the pandemic has taught me more than ever is the gift of kindness, the gift of understanding, and how important that is. Don't take people for granted. We've lost far too many people in this country that got taken from us far too early in life. And so, if anything, if we could have a pandemic of kindness come out of this horrible viral pandemic, I think that could be one of the greatest gifts that we give back to ourselves.
Okay. During the pandemic, you have been a very prominent commentator that you have been speaking to issues that people are concerned about on any number of media outlets. And by doing so, you've raised the profile of the University of Minnesota, obviously, and of CIDRAP. Do you think that this event will lead more students to pursue a public health career? And if they do so, do you expect them to consider the university?
Well, first of all, it's clear that it is leading students to this area. I can tell you that just from the number of contacts that I have, people who want to come to the university and study in this area and want to work specifically with us at CIDRAP. And this has been a similar view of my colleagues around the country, that this has really brought people to public health. Now, I'll have to say that that's a great thing, because, in fact, at the same time, many of my colleagues who have had distinguished careers in public health, who have been such incredible public servants trying to protect the lives of everyone, are leaving the field because of the fact that there's so much abuse that they've taken from the public, that they're burnt out, and that it's a tough, tough job. You know, I never had death threats in my life until COVID. And now, you know, it's almost as if I expect it. That has been hard. And so I'm trying to be as honest as I can with incoming students, saying, we need you more now than ever. The public needs you. What you will do will save lives, improve the lives of so many people. But at the same time, you may have to be prepared that we live in a different world order right now. And it would be unfair of me not to tell you about that. So fortunately, you might like soldiers that go off to war that know of the horrible, horrible consequences it could have doing that, but at the same time feeling the mission for their country. I think public health people are doing the same thing. The new ones coming in, feeling like this is an area, you know, I want to get into, I want to be part of, and I'm willing to take whatever comes. And I do know and feel very proud of the fact that many of them do want to come to the University of Minnesota.
Death threats, that's an extraordinary statement on our times, I'm afraid. To turn to a lighter and happier note, as Grand Marshal of this year's homecoming festivities, are there any personal messages that you'd like to share about your memories of homecoming, what you hope to experience this year?
Well, you know, I have to be honest with you. I feel kind of like a kid at Christmas right now. You know, I'm so excited. I mean, I don't know all the things there. You know, it's just, you know, the University of Minnesota is surely a beautiful campus and a wonderful collection of buildings. But we all know at the heart of it is each other. It's the people. You know, I'm here today doing what I do because there were some very, very, very kind and giving professors early in my career here at the University of Minnesota that invested a tremendous amount in me. And they never asked for a thing. I know in retrospect that there was an expectation I'd pay it forward. And I think I surely feel the same way. You know, I've had several hundred graduate students that have come to mean everything to me. And so, you know, homecoming is a way to remember just how important people are, whether it was a faculty member, another student, you know, somebody, the support staff. You know, I have to tell you, in all the years I've been at the U, some of the people who have meant the very, very most to me are not another professor, but the incredible team of people that keep that university running every day. You know, they are invaluable. And so, you know, we don't need homecoming to remember those, but homecoming gives us that opportunity to remember them. And I'm looking forward to that and seeing everyone. And, you know, as my adult kids, both who are University of Minnesota grads, one from medical school, one from law school, would say to me about the parade, Dad, don't screw up, get the wave down, okay? Do it right. So I'll also have to work on that.
Well, we are excited to have you join the festivities with all of us, and we look forward to seeing you then. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that I haven't asked you about?
No, thank you. Again, I'm very proud to accept this on behalf of all of them. I mean, one of the things I would say is that it is a little bit uncomfortable with this attention, because what I do at CIDRAP is really about what we do at CIDRAP. You know, there's no I in team. And CIDRAP is really about a team of people that are remarkable. You know, a number of the senior leadership members of our team in CIDRAP, we've now been together for 35 years or more. You know, you can't buy that. You can't make that. You can't create that. And that all happened because of the University of Minnesota. And so for me, it's a very, very special place.
Well, Dr. Osterholm, thank you very much for your time. And again, on behalf of the Alumni Association, our congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we
you.
look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Go Gophers.